Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have been given the privilege of saying a few words to this year's recipient of the OJ Brigance Courage Award. Back in 2007, we received a diagnosis that my wife and I were hardly prepared for. After a grueling diagnostic process, the doctors determined that I had ALS. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is a motor neuron disease that robs you of all voluntary muscle movement until you are left virtually paralyzed. Chanda and I were devastated. After the tears dried up, God allowed revelation to come. Every one of our trials and tribulations we had experienced during our lives had prepared us for such a time as this.
It takes courage to walk the walk that he's been given. It takes courage to walk that walk and to walk it in the way that he's walking it, to walk it with the faith that he has. And so the faith combined with that courage just is amazing.
When I think about OJ's example of faith and courage, I think back to one of the first conversations we had back in 2008, and he shared with me his feelings about the whole thing, and he said, this was an amazing opportunity. You know, and he talked about how his whole life he had been such a strong person physically, how he loved working out. You know, that part of his life was really, really important to him and meant a lot and gave him a lot of joy and a lot of happiness, you know. And he told me that he thought that God was taking something away that he valued greatly, something that really mattered to him, in order that other things would become a bigger part of his life and a bigger focus. And I never forgot that, because to me, that's what OJ has done. He's taken that circumstance and made it something glorious and great for God.
OJ didn't plan this. You know, he didn't plan for this part of his life to approach him this way, yet he embraced it. And I think about that verse in Jeremiah where it talks about, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans not to harm you, but to give you a hope and a future." If we all look at OJ's diagnosis and what was ahead of him, we kind of wonder, could I go through that? Could I do that? And then you watch how OJ has depended on that, God's plans for him. Unwavering faith, unwavering courage. And you're in awe of his faith and courage. Use that for whatever you're going to face tomorrow.
Just to see that type of strength and in a person such as OJ, it ministers to me, it ministers to others, and it allows, again, God to be seen. Greater is he who is within me than he that is in the world.
When we encounter adversity in our lives, we have an important choice to make. We can either choose to react or choose to respond. You see, a reaction is a quick, emotional, instantaneous act stimulated by fear of our circumstances. But a response is a thoughtful, calculated, intentional reply to a situation based on the truth. Truth such as Romans 8:28 that says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." This evening, we honor someone who chose to respond to their adversity, not react to their circumstances. Tonight, we recognize and applaud your strength, courage, and faithful perseverance. Congratulations on being named this year's recipient of the OJ Brigance Courage Award.